I have a question for everyone. Are you satisfied with Sparking Zero in the state that it's in right now? And tell me the truth. After a few months, are you really satisfied with the game? If I'm honest, I don't think I am. I've played a ton of Dragon Ball games, some good, some bad, and some that should have never been brought into existence. But Sparking Zero is the only one that has me split. Because on one hand, it's a fantastic game, a great story mode with what if scenarios built in, there's custom battles so fans can create their own dream matches, and the gameplay is perfect. But on the other hand, I don't feel completely satisfied with this game, and I want to talk about why I feel this way. We have gotten plenty of good games like the Raging Blast series, games that I have always considered to be a spiritual successor to the Tenkaichi games. Xenoverse games I had never really cared for, but I understand why people love them. Fighter Z was a fantastic game that I wish I was better at to enjoy it fully. And Kakarot remains to be the best Dragon Ball game we've ever gotten, in my opinion, at least. Sparking Zero should have been an easy home run, but sadly, while the gameplay is fun, the content really isn't. First, let's start off with the small stuff, things that I would consider me being a little nitpicky about. The stages, the music, and the cosmetics. Now, I understand the devs worked hard on making these stages. They are large and highly detailed with tons of destructible elements. But to launch this game with only 11 stages, it's kind of insane. Compared to Tenkaichi 3, which had 23 stages, this is insulting. Now, granted, Tenkaichi 3 had the first and the second game to pull resources from, but so does Sparking Zero. Why couldn't they have just grabbed a few stages from the older games and make them larger if that needed to happen? And when we got our first DLC starring the superhero movie characters, we got no new stages from that. The Red Ribbon Base and Piccolo's house would have made amazing stages. The game has been out for almost 6 months and we haven't gotten anything. Not even classic stages. No Kami's Lookout, Kame House Glacier, no original Dragon Ball locations. They skipped both Universe Tournament stages, and there is no clean version of the Tournament of Power stage, though that last one is a nitpick for me. And aside from Planet Namek, there are no destructible stages like in the previous games. It just feels like the stages were an afterthought. The only way you're going to get more stages now is by modding them, something that, as far as I know, can't be done on consoles, and unless there's a plug and play way for me to do it on PC, I'm not even going to try. Well, at least the music is good, right? Well, not really. I mean, it's not really bad, but most of these songs are very forgettable. Compared to the Budokai and Budokai Tenkaichi games, Sparking Zero's soundtrack really is lacking. Some are a little catchy, but that's mainly because you hear them repeatedly while fighting. Going into sparking mode is very cool because you get to pick your own theme song that plays, but it would be so much better if the soundtrack didn't sound so average. Of course, music tastes are subjective, but I have a very wide range of music that I listen to, and I just couldn't get into most of these songs. And I'm not sure if there's a legal reason why, but I really wish they would have put a jukebox into this game so we could change the music. Listening to songs from the older Budokais, Rage and Blast, and even Fighter Z would have been nice. Now, my problem with cosmetics are not that they're there, is that they're underutilized. Majority of cosmetics are for Saiyans and a few other characters, but other than that, nobody else has them. Then there's the fact that some characters are just missing costumes. Krillin is missing his Buu Saga outfit, there is no End of Z Goku outfit, no Teen Gohan with Goku's gi, no Broly Second Coming outfit. All this and more are missing and were in previous games. There aren't even different color options. They could have at least given us that or give us the opportunity to change the color of the characters' attires ourselves. That would have been really nice. One last thing about character outfits is that Goku from Super and Android 18 are the only characters to my knowledge that have outfits that can change their blast too. No other character in the game can do this. There were hints that led to the possibility of us being able to change character supers, but that never came to pass. Now, my next issue is about the overall underwhelming look of a lot of supers and ultimates when compared to their previous versions from Tenkaichi and even Raging Blast. And this is a complex complaint because visually, some of these moves look outstanding, but at the same time, they feel unimpressive. The most common example is Goku's Spirit Bomb, which, again, they all look beautiful. Each and every one of his Spirit Bombs look great. The problem comes when the move actually hits. It makes a very dull sound, not the kind of sound you'd expect from a move called the Spirit Bomb. Compared to Tenkaichi 3, which actually sounds like a bomb. In the older games, the devs worked hard to make every move feel destructive. The screen would shake, the hits had a strong sound to them, and the camera really helped make a lot of the moves feel more devastating. Sparking Zero tries to make this game look more cinematic by incorporating camera slowdowns and rotations, and all it does is make the moves look worse. And to prove my point, I don't really like doing this, but I found 3 of my favorite attacks out of Tenkaichi 3 and found their counterparts in Sparking Zero. What I'm going to do is play them without saying a word, because to me, seeing is believing.
I'll enjoy this. It's over! You're dead meat. Bye-bye.
You're done for now. Time for some turbo speed. You're too slow. We're settling this right here and now.
You can't look at the screen with a straight face and tell me that Sparking Zero did a better job. You just can't. I'm just extremely disappointed with how all of this came out, and I'm not the only one. And the worst part about it is they are capable of making great looking attacks. Super Saiyan 2 Goku's Meteor Crash looks great. Future Trunks' Shining Sword attack, while it's not better than his Budokai Tenkaichi 3 version, it still looks great. And Super Vegeta's Spirit Breaking Cannon is probably my favorite rush attack in the game. But that's just a handful of good ones in a sea of bad ones. And super characters aren't safe either. Super Saiyan God Vegeta's Blazing Attack, now called the Godshine attack, looks terrible. Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Golden Frieza share the same rush attack, which is just a punch. Beast Gohan's rush attack, while visually pleasing, is just a kick. And Khalifa, for some reason, just got murdered in the game. No Super Saiyan 1 and her blast attacks in base and in Super Saiyan 2 are the same, with Super Saiyan 2 having the most boring rush combo in the game. I just don't understand why they chose to do this. And I'm sure there are more characters that suffer from this, but these are the ones that stood out to me. Feel free to share which attacks you think are better or worse in Sparking Zero. The last thing I'll add is that I think that they should have given us one more attack to use. We only are using 3 out of the 4 face buttons when using supers and ultimates. Giving us a third would have been nice. It could have been another blast, a rush combo, or like in Raging Blast, some characters have counter supers. Just saying. Okay, so we're here at the biggest complaint I have with this game, and it's honestly the main reason why I made this video. Once I finished all the episode battles and the what ifs that are attached to it, I realized that there's not really much to do offline. Now, you may be wondering why I was bothering with offline content. Well, I don't really care about online play anymore. I don't play Call of Duty no more. I don't play Destiny anymore. I don't play Tekken 8 anymore. I've kind of just taken a step back from online games. So I rely on the offline content of games. And this game really doesn't have anything that's fun. Now, of course, there's the custom battles, but that can only be fun for so long. The problem with it is that once you beat all the main ones that they have created for you to play, you're left to either create your own custom battles, which can be fun as long as you know what you're doing. But if you're like me with dozens of other games to play, you aren't going to spend time learning how to do this. And there's nothing to gain from doing it. The other option is to play custom battles that online players make, and that can only be fun for so long before you run out of interesting ones to play. Then you run across some nonsense like this. The most recent addition to the game was the Legendary Warrior Face-Off mode, and it sucks. It's basically a time trial that increases difficulty with every level that you beat, granting you some rewards. There are 4 levels of difficulty: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and super. The first 2 difficulties, they're not that bad. The problems came when you got to advanced and super. The fight is extremely hard, and not only because the computer AI got better, it's because it's overwhelmingly strong. Its attack and defense stats are through the roof, they can charge their ki almost instantly, and their skill counter increases rapidly. This means you're basically fighting a cheater. And on super difficulty, the health they have is just insane. They are so strong that their basic attacks eat through an entire health bar while you struggle to do damage, and they could spam supers and ultimates whenever they chose to. The rewards you get is okay, but I don't think it's worth the stress. Beating the opponent on each difficulty wins you points to use in the special rewards section to get more Zenny, capsules, useless titles, and Dragon Balls. I'm currently stuck on super difficulty, and honestly, I don't care too much to try to even get past it. So now I have to find something else to do. My default is to run offline world tournaments. This was something I always did in the older Budokai Tenkaichi games. It was a nice challenging mode that rewarded me well when I won. Well, guess what? In Sparking Zero, the mode has been stripped to the bone. It's not as challenging, not very rewarding, and they cut down the maximum number of characters allowed in a tournament. You can only have 8, including yourself, while the older games let you have up to 16. On top of that, you can't play a local tournament with your friends like you could on the PS2. They just didn't include that. So that mode is boring. There's just a massive lack of offline content in this game, and I know why. Sparking Zero is almost entirely built around an online experience. Custom battles rely on players to create content for other players. The World Tournament has an online mode whenever you get tired of playing offline. Legendary Warrior Face Off has an online leaderboard. Of course, there is online play, including ranked battles. The only mode that doesn't have online attached to it is the episode battles. Now, I'm not a fool. I understand why this is the case. For better or for worse, competitive online games are dominating the industry. Sure, there are games like Baldur's Gate 3, Elden Ring, Monster Hunter Wilds that came along and made an insane amount of money, but overall, thanks to the nature of online games, they usually make more. So, it makes sense for the devs to cater to that side. Unfortunately, this has led them to neglect the offline side of the game, leaving players like me that don't really have a desire to interact with the online content wondering why we paid money to play this. At this point, you might be asking, well, why don't you want to interact with the online content? Well, it's because I don't want to. It's not fun. This is not a competitive fighting game. The reason why I played Tekken is because, well, I can pick my favorite character, and as long as I knew my strengths and knew my enemy's weaknesses, I can have a fun competitive time. You can't do that in Sparking Zero because the game by design is unbalanced. If you try to play single player ranked, you're going to run into a wall eventually where you run into the same characters. I mean, look, these are the characters that people select more often when they're playing single player ranked. Master Ultra Instinct Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, Whis, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, Gohan Beast, he just got added to the game. Full Power Jiren, Super Vegito, Ultra Instinct Sign Goku. These are the characters you're more than likely going to run into after you pass B rank in online mode. You aren't going to see Cell that often, or Frieza, Baby Vegeta won't be there, nor will Kaba, a character who can mop the floor with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Nope, you're more likely going to be fighting the top 5 characters on this list when you get into the high ranks of online. And it's going to get boring because everyone wants to win and they won't be using their favorite character. I know for a fact there are people playing that hate Master Ultra Instinct Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and they play him just so they can win. This is not like a traditional fighting game where you can learn your favorite character and not have to worry about a completely busted character making winning impossible. In Sparking Zero, you will eventually come across someone who knows the game just as well as you do, and because they're using a stronger character than you, you're going to struggle to win, resulting in you picking one of the top characters in the game to stay competitive. To me, it's just not fun. Nothing about this game is really fun except for the gameplay itself. And that's debatable as well. There are tons of gameplay mechanics that the older games did that this game doesn't. And while I was making this video, they released the DLC 2 trailer for Sparking Zero, which only includes, for now, Super Saiyan Mini Goku, Mini Vegeta in his Super Saiyan form, and Glorio. That's it for now. I'm pretty sure they're going to add more characters, maybe some more custom battles, but that's about it. No new stages or nothing like that. It's really disappointing, but whatever. That's all I have to say about Sparking Zero. If you want to share your thoughts about the game, whether you love the game or whether you hate it, leave it down in the comments down below. Subscribe and leave a like, and I will catch you guys in the next one.